Hey guys, Fred and Sheila McCoy, Hatfield McCoy Museum, FredMcCoy.com. Sheila's behind the camera.
Hi guys, hope you're having a great day.
Stay tuned, we got some special announcements forthcoming.
We do? Okay.
May be interesting. If you look around, look at all the lights.
Know about us.
We finally got some lights down here and upstairs and on the other side. And been doing some
Yep, see all of those lights.
necessary improvements. So maybe we have some good news here pretty soon about the museum and about our book.
Our books, yeah.
So guys, I know that some of these videos may seem like they're duplicate. The same, it ends up the same thing, the same talk about the same things. The reason they do is we're trying to respond to Facebook pages where they keep advertising the stories of the past. Fabricated, made up stories of the past. And anytime we see them or somebody sends us those, we respond to them. It may end up being the same thing in the end. It may end up being about the desertion. It may end up being about the so-called lawsuit for property or the trial of Paris and Sam. It may turn out to be something that you've seen a video on, but it may be pertaining to something different the way that it came about, and we're just responding to that. I hope it don't bore people. I just want to show, Sheila and I do, the different manners in which people posted things or still post things today. Post things today as if it was said back in the old days, or they'll mix their new take in with an old book or old story and let the two blend in together, and you don't know what you're reading. You don't know what was written in the past or what was, and either way, both stories is more than likely false. And story today, it's just a short story. That's a badge of Tennis Hatfield.
Okay.
When he was the sheriff of Logan County.
Okay.
And the story that we're going to cover is Dwight Wimpson, the story of Tennis Hatfield, the son of Debunking Hatfield.
Okay.
Now, Dwight Wimpson was the editor or something to do with the newspaper in Logan County.
Okay.
And at one time, I don't know if he's still there or not, but I know at one time he's a researcher or historian or something to do with the Logan Banner. And I've read a lot of things that Dwight has said and written, and you know, Fred, I don't agree with a lot of things, especially when there's proof otherwise. But Dwight Wimpson tries to, in most of his stories, to be truthful and to write things that I think is the truth. He's definitely not. Well, I'll just read you some of the things that he wrote here about tennis.
Let them decide.
Yeah, you all can decide for yourself. The Logan Banner, and it says, Tennis had lost his clout and was drinking heavier than usual while being sued by different businesses and individuals. Now, remember, Tennis Hatfield is the youngest son of Debunking Hatfield. He's the youngest son. Tennis Hatfield is the son. Guys, my back is doing good, so we're going to walk a little bit. Sheila, I'm looking for the old picture of the famous Hatfield picture.
Is it right through there?
Right through, okay.
There? Let's see here. Where would it be?
That's okay. Tennis Hatfield is in the...
Is that all of them over there on the walls? There, is that him in the hat next to
I'll
the...
tell you where it's at. Come over here. It's in Stephen's case.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I knew we had it on there somewhere.
Right. We're going to do a story on that later.
I'm just showing everything we got in here.
Right there. Guys, if you will look at that picture right there, and it's hard to show, but this little boy on the left, there's sitting out front is 3 children. The one on the far left with his hands crossed is Tennis Hatfield.
Yeah.
The youngest son of Debunking Hatfield.
There, right
the
there.
little boy on the right, far right, is Willis Hatfield.
That's him over here with his leg up.
with his leg, hands on his knee.
Yeah.
Now that one on the left is Tennis Hatfield. That would have been the youngest son of Devil Anse Hatfield.
Okay.
And you can see how young he was there when that picture was taken. Now, Stephen Hatfield, I don't know, I ain't gonna say I don't know how true it is because I believe it more than I would anybody that's told us anything. Stephen Hatfield was about one of the most truthful people with Sheila and I, and another Hatfield buddy of ours that went with us and talked to on occasion. And Stephen says that Tennis was mad that day. Tennis was Stephen's grandfather. And Stephen says that Tennis was mad when he was a little boy, and he's sitting there like that, all mad.
Yeah.
And because he didn't get a, what, Sheila?
Hold a gun.
He didn't get a hold of gun. If you'll notice back there, Coleman A. Hatfield, he's got that pistol holding it up there. And then Shep,
Shep's
of course,
got one.
is in the back, and different ones. But Tennis was mad because Tennis didn't get a hold of gun. So that's who Tennis Hatfield. Tennis was the youngest son of Devil Anse. Tennis is the one that went on to become sheriff of Logan County. He became a corrupt sheriff. He had brothels, he had bars and saloons and gambling devices and all these different things. And at Barnabas, I think they were up, correct me Sheila if I'm wrong, but Stephen said Cow Holler, Cow Branch, Cow Creek. Cow Creek, right?
Yeah. Y'all keep wanting to call it Cowtail, but I think it's Cow Creek.
Cow Creek. And that's where one of Tennis's brothels or clubs was at. And of course, Tennis was the sheriff. And he could do what he wanted. In fact, later on, Tennis got Joe, his brother, to run for sheriff when Tennis's term was up, and they were going to trade back and forth. And I think, from things I've read, that Tennis tried to, Tennis was running things for Joe while Joe was there. And it got a little bit hairy, and I think Joe finally took charge and said, hey, we got to stop this. But anyway, the Logan Banner and Tennis was drinking more heavily. The Blue Goose Bar and boarding house both would burn, as would Devil Anse's home place, where Tennis happened to reside. Now during this time, according to Stephen, and I think according to the, I don't have the full article here, but anyway, I think Tennis owed a lot of people some money, and all of a sudden the Blue Goose burnt down, and mainly, the main big loss was Devil Anse Hatfield's home place.
Yeah.
Tennis had inherited the home place after Lavasi had died. And Lavasi died, I can't remember the date right now, Devil Anse died in 1921, I think she died in 1929. I think she died about 8 years later. When she died, I think Cap was keeping her, and in fact, I think that her doctor, or at least one of her doctors, was Dr. Moore. Can't think his first name, Sheila.
Was it Dana?
Dana, Dr. Dana Moore. And Dr. Moore was one of her physicians that was treating her at the time when she was sick. And but she was living with Tennis Hatfield, or Cap Hatfield at that time. So we got the Blue Goose burnt down, the boarding house burnt down, and so did Devil Anse Hatfield's house. It burnt down, supposedly, or I'm not going to say allegedly, because he actually went to prison for it, for collecting insurance on it. Now, before he burnt the home place down and all this and that, according to Stephen, I have no reason in the world not to believe anything Stephen told us. Tennis took a lot of the artifacts, the collectibles, the keepsakes. He took them out and he hid them so they didn't burn up in the house. And it goes on to say that Hatfield died in 1953 at the age of 62 from a brain hemorrhage. And, you know, the funny thing is, and I drift, and that's why you don't want to go from one video just because it starts out one way. I'm probably going to cover something else that may not have been covered in another video. Okay. But you know, there was a doctor years ago, I'm not going to go completely in it because I'm not that, I had a brother that researched it and talked to the doctor and interviewed him and everything else. Years ago, there was a doctor come out and said that the McCoys had some kind of disease, a brain disease.
A brain disease, yeah.
And when my brother interviewed him, he asked him what kind of research he had, patients and all this. He only had one patient. He had a patient that said that her child took anger fits. Well, Sheila teaches kindergarten. I can tell you, or she can tell you about anger fits nowadays.
Yeah.
What it is, it's sparing the rod and spoiling the child. What it is social services. What it is not cutting a limb off of a tree and wearing these little things hides out. But, where was I at?
You was talking about having the brain disease. She said
He had a brain disease, and this lady, this McCoy lady, was telling the doctor about it. And she said, I think it's from where he's parked McCoy. And that doctor said, hey, yeah, I'm gonna research this. So the doctor had one patient with a temper problem, mainly because the child wasn't disciplined. And after we went through this big interview, my brother said, that's the only patient, you done a complete study, and you come up with this thing that McCoys have some kind of disease from one child. And he says, you better not repeat my name, you better not do, scared to death because he done fraudulent research. And he made this up to get some attention. Again, Hatfield and McCoy, and you would think that Hatfield McCoy, a person would want to really go with it, but back home, none of the original Hatfields and McCoys, you will never see that wanted Pike County tourism to revive it. You'll never see where nobody wanted any attention. We're doing this because we have to. It's 2024, and the stories got so ridiculous and so carried away for Devil Anse Hatfield and the West Virginia Hatfields and that legend that was a deserter, and you know how I feel. And so we finally had to speak up. But just like this gentleman at Vanderbilt University, this doctor so-called, done a study so-called, he made it famous. He became famous. He was on TV shows, he was on interviews, because he discovered that the McCoys had a brain disorder.
Maybe one.
Well, it wasn't a brain disorder, it was a child that needed discipline.
That's what I'm saying. That's
one study.
That was the point.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. You're right. But one study. Now I want to show you something here, and I've said this before. No matter what was said in the past, Devil Anse run and hid, Randall McCoy run and hid. Devil Anse was jealous, Randall McCoy was jealous. Devil Anse sued Randall McCoy over property. Randall McCoy sued Devil Anse over. No matter what has been said throughout life, it has always been flipped the other way. Pen's mightier than the sword or the gun, because the pen has completely disfigured and destroyed Randall McCoy's reputation through the years, and he has no offspring that has come to his rescue or tried to stand up and tell the truth or tell the story on his side. They were too busy trying to get attention from standing there looking at his monument and taking up with the West Virginia Hatfields. They ain't even West Virginia Hatfields. Again, the Hatfields and McCoys from back home don't really get into this, or didn't, until these Hatfields and McCoys from 4 other states got into it. And then we have to respond to it. But this doctor got all kinds of attention from saying that the McCoys had this brain disease. Now, I didn't do no study on this, not going to do a study, it's irrelevant. But do you know how Cap Hatfield died? Cap Hatfield died from a brain tumor. Cap Hatfield died from a brain tumor. Just reading this, Hatfield died in 1953 at the age of 62 from a brain hemorrhage. Tennis Hatfield. So there's at least 2 of Devil Anse's sons that died from something dealing with their brain. We know they definitely had anger issues. We know they definitely had problems getting along with other people. We've got one McCoy in this study with the so-called brain disease, but you've got Elias, Troy, you've got Cat, Johnsy, you've got, even Good Elias says he shot at Bud McCoy at day 6 times, missed him. He said if I couldn't hit him 6 times, I was just gonna quit. You've got all these people in the West Virginia Hatfield family, Willis, that shot and killed these people. 2 of them's at least got brain diseases, but you've got them saying the McCoys has got this anger problem. It's not there. It's not that. That's what you call spoken or written in the history. They've said all this about the McCoys, and I'm half Hatfield and half McCoy, but they've said this for years, pointing the finger at the McCoys. But yeah, here's your brain tumors, brain hemorrhages, brain disorders. Here's your tempers flaring. Here's your, not just killing McCoys, not just burning cabins, not just tying them up to trees. I'm talking about killing them at election grounds when they went there to vote. I'm talking about shooting a doctor because he won't give you a prescription for liquor. I'm talking about shooting a man on a train that was going to be the Grand Marshal of the 4th of July parade because he had turned your brother in to the law for the warrants that he was wanted on. I'm talking about 2 brothers that shot and killed another man that had shot and killed them at the same time. All 3 of them died over moonshine. It's not just McCoy's, guys. This was, if this was in this day and time, these people will be compared to Charles Manson or somebody that's one of these shooters that's out there that just goes around killing people. Now that's not, I said all that on this article that Dwight Wilson had written. I said that to say this. A lot of people ask, they'll ask us in text and in emails, what's up with the DNA, Fred? What's up with, you're always asking, what's up? Well, I'll tell you what's up. I don't know. I don't know. That's why we keep asking, or I do. Let me read this to you. Tennis, who would father 9 children through 3 marriages, also had several illegitimate children, some of which never took the Hatfield name. During an unpleasant divorce in 1930 between Tennis and Sadie Hatfield, the shocking announcement in a petition filed by Sadie Hatfield was that several years prior, at the insistence of Joe and Tennis Hatfield, and after she was threatened by death or great bodily harm by her husband, they wanted her to forge a name or do something like that. I'm not going to go into it because that's not my thing. Here is DNA. Do you remember a while back we went over Walt Hatfield? And Walt Hatfield had 5 wives. This is Walt Hatfield. He told the judge or the prosecuting attorney he had 5 wives and 32 children. Now, Tennis Hatfield, who would father 9 children through 3 marriages, also had several illegitimate children. And that, my friends, is our question. That is one of the questions I always ask for these DNAs. Not just that, but there's also allegations or rumors of Devil Ants. That Devil Ants may not have even been a Hatfield. Now, I don't know that. Sheila don't know that. That's been presented to us by several people. Some of them don't even know each other. They're just independent researchers. And they say that this Y DNA does not add up. So that's why if Devil Ants is not a Hatfield, what was he? They can tell that through DNA. Why does these people not want DNAs? Now, it says here he had illegitimate children. Illegitimate children. Had a person telling us that some of the brothers would laugh. They would laugh at another brother because they knew he wasn't of their family. That's what we need to know. We need to know who these people's DNA is. If these people are going to stand there and claim to be Hatfields or claim to be this or that, we need to know. They're on these videos. They're on the Pike County Tourism representing them. And these people's telling us that they're not even relation, or if they are relation, that it's only half, and they could not be nothing at all. Because some of these people could be, and again, guys, and she's going to put a disclaimer at the end. I speak what people tell us. I speak what we hear. Some of it's rumors, some of it's fact. Some of it is my opinion. If we're wrong, or if you can prove us different, please do. It doesn't matter to Sheila and I. There's no right or wrong here. We just want to know the truth.
Yeah.
We have seen peace treaty where a peace treaty says signed by descendants of Randall McCoy and Devil Anse Hatfield. And then you look at the signatures and they tell me that this person comes from Bad Elias Hatfield, which is George Hatfield's son. Totally different, totally another line of Hatfields. Not Devil Anse Hatfield line, George Hatfield line, Preacher Anse's brother. I asked this gentleman on a telephone interview, who are you? Who are you related to? Are you from Devil Anse Hatfield or Bad Elias? He said, I'm not from Devil Anse Hatfield. Well, he didn't say that he was from Bad Elias. That doesn't answer my question. And then you wonder why I'm so inquisitive, and it makes me wonder, who are these people related to if they're related? I'm sorry, I'm probably loud. Still got an ear infection. Who are they related to? What is there to hide? If there's nothing to hide, let's do DNA. Let's look at these so-called peace treaties, and we're going to do a video on them. And we've done videos in the past. Go to the past and look, but we're also going to do an updated one before we start having this so-called reunion that they have every year to try to spread their bull. But we're going to have another one before then. But when it says on a peace treaty, descendants of Devil Anse Hatfield, or you see on a rifle, one side is McCoy's and one side is Hatfield, supposedly Devil Anse Hatfield. But you have a person there that's not a descendant, makes you question things. So my question here today, when I was reading Dwight Wilson's article, was, who are these people related to? Who are these illegitimate children that Wall Hatfield had, that Tennis Hatfield especially, Stephen Hatfield. Now my question is, this is just hypothetical. This is just me talking. Let's say this woman, Tennis Hatfield, fooled around. Tennis Hatfield had a position. He was wealthy. He had a name, and he had women on the side of his marriage. He had 3 marriages, and he had women on the side. Let's say one of these women he's having an affair with got pregnant. Does she call it by the husband's name? Probably. So there's probably some Hatfield children out there that don't know they're Hatfield. If Tennis was their father and they didn't take the Hatfield name.
Because he said some of them didn't.
It says right there, some of them didn't take the Hatfield name. Also had several illegitimate children, some of which never took the Hatfield name. Now let's take the ones that did take the Hatfield name. Let's take the brother that this lady told us that the other brothers laughed at because they knew he was not their relation. He went by a Hatfield name, but they knew he wasn't their relation. Now, could that be somebody that had an affair? Went through a divorce, husband found out his wife had got pregnant, and they think it's Tennis Hatfield's. But then again, they get divorced. She gives them the Hatfield name, comes to find out it's not Tennis Hatfield. It was actually her husband, because she didn't stop having affection with her husband just because she's having an affair. So when did she get pregnant? By whose father of this child? Is it Tennis? And if it is Tennis, then that would only be half of the relationship, because he's not Sadie's. It wouldn't be the brother to the other children. It's interesting, guys. And that's how I come up with the DNA. Until a bunch of people starts taking DNAs and really proving, if you're really serious about being into history, you're really serious about clearing things up, let's do these DNAs. Let's see who Devil Anse was. Was Big Eve really Devil Anse Hatfield's father? I don't know. I'm asking. I guarantee you, if that was my grandfather or my great-grandfather you was asking about, and they say, Fred, you can prove us wrong or right. I say, hey, let's find out. Let's find out. Let's do a DNA. Can't get nobody to do it. The reason you can't get nobody to do it is because there was so much of this going on at the time, they're afraid to do it. Now, if you're afraid to do it, it must be something you're afraid of. It's funny how people can go out here and talk about other people's heritage, other people's family names, other people's families, and refuse to take any kind of a stand to actually prove who they even are. It's funny how people can talk about other people's families. They know all about people's great-grandparents. They know all about people's grandparents and great-grandparents. They know everything in the world that even some of the family members don't know. The own family members don't know. You know, again, it's like that bed that they've got up there in Pikeville. They said, here's Asa McCoy's bed. They don't even know where Asa McCoy, when you go there, guys, and you see that bed, and they say this is Asa McCoy's bed, please ask, where's Asa McCoy buried at? You know what they're going to say? No, we don't know. They don't know. They don't know where the man's buried. Nobody cared enough to tell you where he's buried at or if he was buried. But they kept his bed for a museum someday. Sheila, do the closing. Oh, yeah! I'm sorry, I never know anymore.
Hi, guys. Yeah, he's on a roll out there, so you can't interrupt him. Sorry. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and share, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Well, first of all, I never know when we're doing that, but this here makes it easier on Sheila.
Yeah.
As far as editing, she don't have to edit and put the other videos at the end if we do it live.
Right. That way, because I have some that's already saved up that I've pre-recorded, so I just, if I'm not cleaned up that day, I'll just take that one and stick it on the end. So it's easier.
Oh.